everyone. Welcome to another iteration of Coffee with Kevin. Welcome back. Thank you for checking out this channel, this podcast, wherever you're listening to this message from. I appreciate it. I thank you so much for being out there and checking this out. This is a chance for me just to bring some extra content and information that can go along with your Sunday service. So today, what I've been doing in the past is looking at the previous message and just talking about some of the ideas and thoughts of what's been going on, and just trying to maybe elaborate a little bit more, or just even just talk about it again. It doesn't always hurt to just have those reminders as we go along in the week. And I did miss last week. I wish I could have made one. I just ran out of time and things didn't work out. So I want to try to make one this week, so you'll be hopefully seeing this here soon once I get it all edited and going. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you find it informational. Again, I am Kevin. I'm the online church pastor for Fountain Springs Church. So thank you for tuning in. And last Sunday, we looked at I believe that was our third series for Asking for a Friend. Maybe it was our fourth. I forget the number now, but it was, so we're in Asking for a Friend, and last week we were looking at what do I do about loneliness? And that was a pretty, I think, heavy topic for a lot of people. I know when Pastor Jason got out of that message, there was a lot of people who approached him about just life things that they had going on. And I think there was probably even conversations that weren't had. There's probably a lot more conversations, right, that weren't had about how people are suffering with loneliness. And I've had some conversations with people too who I just need prayer, need some help. I think we are more aware of this now after sort of in this COVID, post-COVID, whatever you want to call it, era where loneliness was definitely a big deal, and we were focusing on it more because we were sheltered from each other for quite a bit. And it's something that I think a lot of people maybe didn't have the skills or knowledge of how to approach it. And it was definitely kind of an eye-opening experience just to see, because to be able to see the people that came out just needing some prayer, needing some support for whatever season of loneliness that they might be in. Because that kind of thing approaches each of us differently and in a lot of different ways. I think, especially on maybe what age you're in, what season of life you're in. If you're maybe in your 50s and you're an empty nester now, maybe you're in your 20s and you're leaving the house for the first time. Or maybe you went through a divorce, or maybe you went through the loss of a loved one, and now you're feeling those feelings of loneliness. And that can be definitely something that we struggle and wrestle with. And I think that it's important to try to walk through it, and walk through it with God is definitely the most important thing here. And to know that you're not alone, that we do have God with us. And I'm going to try to say this right, but you're not alone in your loneliness. There are definitely others out there who are going through what you're going through. And especially if that loneliness leads to depression, anxiety, just nervousness, maybe at least like physical pain. Trust me, you are not alone in this suffering. There are many others out there going through this as well. So if there's anything I can tell you, if you are in this feeling of loneliness, I think one of the big things is that I think the devil is going to try to tell you that you're the only one going through this. You're the only one that is having these problems. And that is so far from the truth that that's not the reality. There's so many going through this. And I just want to say, I guess if you are watching this and going through a season of loneliness now, We have a lot of lines of communication open to reach out to us. If you want to reach out to me or any of the other pastors at Fountain Springs, we are always available for you, and we would love to connect with you. Right down below at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see my email and a phone number that you can text me at any time, and I will get back with you for prayer, questions, or just if you want to chat. I would love to hear from you. And if you are new to Fountain Springs or new to this whole church experience and just have some questions in general, I would love to connect with you as well. So I want to focus a little bit on a very specific section that Pastor Jason was looking at in his message. And he asked the question, who do you surround yourself with? So in the moments of loneliness, we need that community. But sometimes even in community, I think that we can feel alone when we're not around people that build us up, when we're not around people who, might think the same way or have similar interests. Those are important. Those things can help build friendship and help build bonds. But I think if your friends are, especially if they make fun of you, or if they're just not a positive influence, if maybe they're trying to talk you into doing things often that you don't really feel comfortable with, or maybe they're just not supportive in some of your goals, or assuming those are good, positive goals, I guess. I think when we look at who we surround ourselves with, even around company, we can still feel alone. And so Jason tries to address this a little bit. He brought up this question. He said, if you don't feel the righteousness around you, so if you don't feel, I'll say, God's presence around you when you're around your friends, he actually kind of brings up a challenge more than a question. How about you live righteously and surround others? And so I think that's kind of an interesting take, because I think a lot of people take church as a place to get things, or as God as a place to get things, or the world of Christianity as a place to get things instead of giving. And I think this is definitely one of those moments where we need to lean into giving and providing to others. And that means taking our righteousness and taking Christ in us and sharing that with others. So that we're not just left in our own, but we can share the light of Christ with others. And in a way, that's kind of the whole thing of what we're called to do, right? Is spread the gospel to others. And by being kind to others, by loving on others, that is the way that we can share our righteousness with others. Because it's a weird word, right? Like, what's righteousness? What does that mean? How can I do that? And I think that just means, maybe you're around people that, maybe your group of friends, or maybe just the group of people that you're around typically, you still feel lonely around them. You don't feel that connection. I would say that by being kind to them, by loving on them, by being a Christian model, by following what Christ asked us to do, and just showing them that, which may look weird to them. It is going to seem weird to them, and they may question why you're doing something. Why would you just do that thing for that guy? Why would you just give to that charity? Why would you just do this? Like, it doesn't make sense. And feel free to share. Well, just as a Christian, that's what I do, and that's just part of my life. And I think that's just what Pastor Jason was trying to share there. And the challenge he kind of brings up is he brings up three things: to find yodas, right? Find friends and find grasshoppers. Those three things. And I wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit on those, where I think when we join a group, or maybe before we join a group, I know, say like when we have a lot of Bible study groups or just book groups, whatever that is, in our church right now. I think there's something like 50 groups or something. It's incredible. But I think that first step into that group can be really hard, because I think there's a pressure on us that's like, well, I don't know if I want to join because I don't know if I don't know a lot about the Bible. I don't know a lot about different stories. I don't have a lot of verses memorized. I'm pretty new in this whole church Christian thing. I don't know if it's for me. And I would say that, okay, not every person in a group is going to be the Yoda. Everyone's not going to be the knowledgeable people or the knowledgeable leaders who are going to impart wisdom, because if that's all it was, I don't know that it would really be helping anyone. Even a group of pastors, let's just say, for example, we had a Bible study with just pastors from Rapid City. There would still be younger pastors who are new to this. There would be older ones who have had a lot more experience, and there'd be some in the middle, and just everything in between. So no matter what your level of knowledge and experience is, you're definitely you can definitely find your place in a group, because maybe it's one of the grasshoppers, and maybe one of the other people in that group needs to lean into you a little bit. And so it can be kind of scary, because go into something not knowing much about anything can be hard for whatever it is that you're trying to do. I mean, imagine trying to go into a job and really not knowing what this job is, not knowing how to do it. You're just going to lean on some other people to show you the way, to lean on some other people to tell you what to do. That's going to be scary. That's going to be difficult. But that's what we're being called to do. So I want to talk about yodas for a minute. So this is our mentors who have been where we want to go. And how do we find these people? I don't know. I guess in my personal opinion, I guess there's two ways. I think in the way that it probably should be is that our mentors seek us, which means if you feel like you're in a group and you need to be a mentor, then you should be seeking people. But I think that doesn't always happen. I think there's sort of a fear of rejection. Like, I don't have a lot of information to impart in people. I have my own thoughts and feelings on a subject. I probably shouldn't get too involved in this person's life. They have their own thing going on, and I shouldn't mess around with that too much. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. I think we should be reaching out to people who need our advice, who need help. And since I guess that isn't always the case, I think you see this in the military. If you want advice and you want help, go ask someone who you feel comfortable with, who you can look up to, who has the obvious experience. Okay, they've been around for a little bit longer than you have, and they seem to kind of know what they're talking about. Maybe other people kind of look up to them. It's like, oh yeah, go to that guy because he knows quite a bit about this topic. And so you just keep going to that person. You ask them questions. It doesn't even have to be a thing where you say, hey, can you be my mentor? I don't know. Like, it's to put that out there. It can be a little awkward. I'll just say that. I think it can be kind of hard to just sit down and say, hey, I need a mentor. But if someone came to me and said that, I think I would be pretty surprised and kind of proud in a way that, that someone would look up to something, something that I'm saying. So sure, feel free to put that out there. I'm not saying don't, but just go to whoever it is that you might look up to and just ask questions when you have, and just whatever it is. And I think the person on the other side will start to be receptive to what's going on. It's like, okay, this person is asking a lot of questions, and if anything, especially if it's someone that you work with, I think that shows, I think it definitely shows initiative, and definitely shows that you want to learn, you want to be there, you want to do more. So yeah, especially in your job world, I think that can just even look good on you, because you're taking that next step in your job and in your role, so that you can just do your job better. I think in the Christian world, it's hard to get people plugged in. It's hard to get people motivated. And so when you see that, when you see people who are wanting more and they're asking questions, I think that's just really exciting to see. So, if I have someone who is asking questions about something, I might give them more than what they're asking for, just because I'm just excited to share this information. Oh, I have someone interested, so I want to pay attention to this person who's kind of latched on here, who is just thirsty for more, right? I want to provide as much as I can. After yodas or mentors, Jason brings up friends. These are partners who go along in our journey. Friends it's just what it is. I think when you find people who have similar interests, similar goals or ideas, and it's kind of in that same experience and knowledge as you, maybe, those are going to be your friends in a group. I don't think there's too much to explain there. I think that part of that was fairly straightforward. Friendship is going to develop just by spending time with each other and seeing how you can help someone and how they can help you, and just having that balance. And I would say most importantly too, someone who also lifts you up, right? So like I said before, how your friend group shouldn't make you feel alone. Rather, your friend group should make you more empowered, more engaged, more energized, just and excited to be a part of that group. The last one he talked about was grasshoppers. And these are apprentices to bring along and invest with. And so that's kind of just the opposite of what I was talking about, yodas. Maybe you're a grasshopper, and that's okay to join a group and not really know a lot about what's going on. I would say if you're going to fly a plane for the first time, maybe know how to fly the plane. But even pilots start somewhere. They start at their most basic initial training to understand how to fly a plane, because they have no idea how it works. So everyone who knows something starts somewhere. That's, I don't know, maybe kind of a silly statement, but it's true. You have to, if you don't know anything about the Bible, if you don't know anything about maybe a new task that you were assigned at work, you're going to start somewhere. And so you can start asking questions, seeking help, and that's okay to, I would say, don't just sit in the dark. Okay, so yeah, let's compare this. I would compare sort of our church life with work life. And let's say, I think there's a lot of people who will sit sort of in the corner and often to the sides of a church group because they're afraid to ask questions, because they're worried that they don't know as much. And so they kind of blend into the wall a little bit because they're just not as engaged. But maybe in a way that's okay, because sometimes they're just trying to absorb from other people who know more. And so, I mean, I've done that. You just kind of keep your mouth shut because you're trying to learn from someone else. And so those moments are good. but at the same time, you want to be asking questions if you're unclear of something. And so I think, we get hesitant in those moments. We'd rather just listen, but we kind of forget to kind of, raise our hand. Hey, I don't know what that means. And I know I've had to work on that, where you just have to be not afraid. Like, hey, yeah, you said something that everyone else in the room knows. I have no idea what that is. And inevitably it turns out that half the room didn't know what that meant either. So seeing that more and more often is reassuring. Definitely that's a military thing when people throw out acronyms and everyone seems to know what was going on, what was being said, but I don't know what STABC is. Oh, half of you guys didn't either. Okay, I feel better. So definitely, get out there and ask questions. In comparison to a church group, imagine if you were doing that at work. If you had like a meeting and were assigned a job to whatever role you're in, and you just kind of sat there on the side. Okay, I understand that's what I'm supposed to do, but you really have no idea how to execute that job, or how you're going to make that thing happen that you were just asked to do. And that would seem weird, right? To just not ask questions at all. Like, okay, I guess I'll just figure this out on my own. I don't know how this is going to work. That wouldn't work, right? But that's what happens in our church life, that we just think that we can sit on the wall and just absorb all the time. Again, sometimes it works, but we need those mentors. We need those friends who we can reach out to. And yeah, hopefully they realize that we're new and they can reach out to us, but that doesn't always happen. Like I said, reach out to people, ask questions. It's okay to be a grasshopper, and because the more you learn, the more you understand. I'm just saying this in general. It doesn't even have to be about church stuff. It doesn't have to be about the Bible. It doesn't have to be about work stuff. It could be whatever it is that you're doing. But the more you learn, maybe it's just life experience. A lot of you out there have just gone through a lot of life things. And the more that you go through life things, the more you can invest in others, the more that you can show others the right way. You can teach other people those hard lessons that you've gone through so that they can avoid them and they can find the more right path in their life. Jason shares a little bit of Proverbs, which is Proverbs 13, 20 to 21. I guess it's 20 and 21. So Proverbs 13, 20 and 21. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Misfortune pursues the sinner, but I can't say that, can I? But prosperity is the reward of the righteous. I'm going to try that one more time. Misfortune pursues the sinner, but prosperity is the reward of righteousness, of the righteous. I got it. I'll try to have it up here on the screen on one of my sides over here. Yeah, so basically that's the verse in Proverbs that Jason is, I think, talking about, that when we are alone, or when we are with people who are careless, when we are with people who are reckless, when we are with people who just don't seem to care about us, then we're going to fail. We're going to fall. We're going to suffer because of that. But when we surround ourselves with righteous, or just people who lift us up, people who model Christ, then we are going to get rewarded for that. Misfortune pursues the sinner, but prosperity is the reward of the righteous. Yeah, I said it right that time. Well, there you go. There's another translation when it's first translated into Greek. because it says prosperity is the reward of the righteous. The other way to translate it is and I forget the word exactly. I think it's consumes the righteous, that prosperity consumes the righteous. So it's not just a reward like, oh, hey, this is my thing to grab now. No, it consumes, which means it's all encompassing, like whether you want it or not, it's there. And so that means by surrounding ourselves with people who are Christ-like and who share in that righteousness, we will come under God's blessing, because we're going to only just improve our lives and grow closer to God, which that's what I want for you. And if you are the church online, that's what I want for all of you, or just to anyone who is watching. That's not just the church online. So if you are the church online, be sure to check out our next message on Sunday at 9:30 and 11:30. I will take the last message that was put up by David last week. So I guess I have some catching up to do. That's right. I want to share about his message that he just did. And I think that'll be fun too. So hopefully I'll come up with some other topics and ideas and things to chat about. Thank you for sticking with me. I think this might have been a little bit of a longer one, but hey, I'm glad you're here, and you can share some coffee with Kevin. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.